Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kate Simmons. I'm the gallery director for the Alexander Gallery at Clackamas Community College. I'm really pleased to be joining you today for the celebration of our 2021 student art exhibition. This is our second virtual exhibition, and it is supported by the Lee Hutchison Endowment. The endowment goes to supporting all of the monetary awards that are given to the selected artists that are participating in the exhibition. This is our second exhibition virtually, and I want to say that I'm very proud of all of our students for continuing to make art and celebrate their work. Being the second show, we have had an increase in production and 20% more submissions of artwork for this year. So good job, students, and keep making your artwork. Today, I'm pleased to introduce you to Abe Zuka, who is a prolific practicing artist in Phoenix, Arizona. Abe is a painter and shows his work in his gallery titled Abe Zuka Gallery. Thank you so much for joining us today, Abe. And can you please talk about how you came to making art and move into the selection process?
I usually tell people I quit art more than I actually, started art. If that makes any sense. There's so many times where I gave up on it, and then things come in my path where I needed to do it, even at like a later age. After I had 3 kids, I really started taking it a bit serious and started putting my stuff at coffee shops. And the first art shows I was doing was with my son, who was only 4 years old. And we would do collaborative art. They were more abstract pieces. And I started hanging my art around coffee shops 10 years ago, and then I started showing it more and more, and whatever money I made off the art, I started buying more materials and making more art, and then it just became full time for me. But I guess I would be thankful for the coffee shops that were around my area, in which I could create a name for myself. People start saying, "Hey, I saw you here, and I saw your work over here," and it was just that that constant reminding someone of my name that I sooner or later, right now I make money just by people private messaging me to do art or to buy a piece that I created.
That's like Steve. Where am
I suppose that's about as a beginning story as I have. And then,
So how did you move from showing in coffee shops to having a gallery space?
Well, it was, my wife, she's a hairstylist, and there was hair salons are another place that's kind of a little step up for like mixers, believe it or not. I know tons of hair salons, at least the more eccentric, artistic hair salons that kind of have more of an aesthetic feel to them,
Mm-hmm.
would open up their place to do like a First Friday art exhibition.
Mm-hmm.
And so she first worked at a salon that was kind of hip and had actual art shows every First Friday. And then she's just really good at what she does. And so she opened up her own salon.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a small salon at first. And then we found this warehouse space. So we combined the two. So it's a big warehouse now. That's my art gallery. And then during the working hours, they cut hair. It's like a 4 hair station salon.
Wow.
So there's a picture right here where it says New Art 1301, the bottom left. That's the gallery there. That's one wall of it. And there's an opposite wall. And so, the ceilings are really high in there. So it just gives it a real good feel.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's any advice there, it's you kind of find ways of merging with other businesses to still maintain a real good aesthetic to view art. Because right now in Scottsdale used to have, I think they half the amount of galleries are down there. 50% of them closed in the last 5 years. So art galleries are kind of hard to stay open and show work. So I always give advice to try to figure out ways of you putting your art in places where your art looks better and it has traffic where people can see it. There's always this sweet spot of showing art. I think that's what I kind of learned as I've gone from a coffee shop to a gallery, that there's all sorts of in-between places, and there's places that can actually convert into a gallery on a certain night of showing. Yeah. Is there some other questions, or?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I gotta say that I first met Abe not just a few weeks ago, though I've been following him for a couple of years on Instagram. Kind of met him through my son, Zach, who's an artist that lives out in Mesa. But anyways, I show up at Abe's place and he meets me out in front, and we walk in and I see his studio. It is lined with work and stickers and posters that he's done. And also every wall of his studio is covered in books. And this dude reads everything. And we had a conversation that was almost nonstop for about 2 or 3 hours. I got to say, I totally appreciated it. And this is what I know about Abe, is that he's so committed to his art, which I don't think he makes much of a division between art and life. It's just he's committed to living. And it's really awesome to watch how many paintings he does. He is so, he grinds. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about your public. I don't even know quite what to say. It's not social media, but the way you get out in public, your stickers, your interactions. And I'm aware of the fact that at times some people think you've done some outrageous things, but maybe you could kind of tell us a little bit about your promotional ability.
Yeah, I think there might be something hidden in, like, so I don't play a musical instrument, so I don't have to go up on stage and perform on call, in the moment, on the one. So I think there's something, I think it might have been Duchamp said something like, painters are the most cowardly artists because they go to the little hole and they do their painting and then they stick it out somewhere anonymously and run away from any type of communication with people. Like there's something about assembling in a way something destructive or beautiful at home. Like when you look at those alien landings, those crop circles, like you don't ever see them made. You see them at in product. And so I think there's something that I'm obsessed with, this in product thing where art is curated as a performance. And the more ways you can assemble those, what do you call these, like breadcrumbs to lead to more mystery, or you could play like that. I think that's what's neat about the social media. People want to just get off Facebook because it's toxic, right? Like you don't know these people, and they can either trash you or there's bots. But there seems to be that open play of all those voices. Hold on 1 second. Hey, I got this huge thing right now.
We love Zoom. What would Zoom be without an interruption?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be Zoom.
All right, sorry about that. Sorry. All right. That's also what, like, I'm at home. Anyways, like, yeah, there, as far as that whole thing of as a painter or as an artist that's just doing these either sculpture, you're not doing music, at least in this format. This is like visual art. So the only thing that would tangle is performance or just the visual art and its end product. So you just sit on a table, people look at it and they interpret it. So whether you're a painter or any of these people, that's kind of the base level of what you're doing. You're assembling a product, an object. You sit on a table and you could sit 3 different objects on a table next to each other. It has a whole different meaning. So it seems, I wouldn't know what you call it, but it seems like something like a William S. Burroughs would call it almost like a collage, like it's a cut up technique. All you're using is images and you assemble a story out of it without trying that hard. It's just random things. So anytime I see myself being attached to a certain image of myself, I try to do the opposite, and you keep getting these good play. You get these good spaces of play, and that's what I feel is happening when it comes to the marketing thing. Like there's some days where I'll just be into I'll be in like quantum physics or something. So I just start using those words as a reference to me, or, you know, different language to describe your art. Like even when it comes to naming my paintings, you know, I'll just like open up a book and just start looking at certain words. So I don't know what you call that. I think they call that bricolage. There's all sorts of terms of that in the arts where you're just, you know, cutting and pasting. You're just taking pieces together and seeing how they juxtapose next to each other. So I'm obsessed with that.
Cool. Well, I think we'll get started with the award part of the show. And you can talk about each piece a little bit, why you picked it. Okay. Are you guys ready? Drum roll. We're going to start with honorable mentions, and then we'll go to area awards, and then we will have third place, second place, first place, and best of show. Okay. Let me share the screen.
Do you just want me to start describing it, or just
Yep.
talk about it? So my son buys Vans, and you know, the color, that red that's on the box is just it has its own it doesn't seem this, it always is related to this Vans box. And so I like the idea, you know, that box is really cool. I remember my son would get these Vans, and I would look at these boxes, they're so cool, and now the box is itself a shoe. And the construction of it is, I could see how the eyes floating around either the sole of the shoe and then layering on the top plate, and then this idea of lace at the top. So I honestly, if this was anything attractive, it's like there is something beautiful about that red on those boxes. And I think it's just that the other color is just the color of the cardboard, and that's just really neat. It's a single tone, but it comes across awesome. And then this one, when I first saw it, I didn't read what it was made out of, and then when I did that, I thought, yeah, you know, zip ties have so many different. There's a poetry in a zip tie. When you start tightening the sphere of it, you can't go back, or unless you want to muscle it, but then you'll start ruining the shape. So there's always this neat thing of a zip tie. You're never going back when you start zipping it. And just the flowery shape of it going from big to small, and then these nice art, you know, the arcing zip tie vectors coming out of it is cool.
Did you want to speak to why you chose this
Oh,
video?
yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of, yeah, I just really liked it, but it reminded me of it's a good animation as far as you know, the whole body moving across. I'm trying to remember what the whole skit was about. But you know, that just, you know, there's a lot of frames, the whole animation, the voice, like there's a lot of detail on the mouth, and that's aiding the language. It's just a good thing. I think I could see this as like a series of episodes with all different other types of stories. This one I really like because at least I know it's hard to do dark tones and then not rely on so many accents. And what makes this thing is this great silhouette foreground of this land with these other swords coming out of the ground, or stakes, swords, and then that red that just kind of comes up from behind the character, and there's just a real equal controlled glow over the whole piece. Like it's very the whole thing's contained uniform, which is nice. Yeah, this one's great. It just keeps redrawing itself. You could just keep watching it over and over again, deconstruct and construct itself again from the shoe to the body. And then there's also that beauty of the old, you could tell it's done by actual line work that's changing as the thickness of the line's constantly pulsating. So it reminds me of those old Disney cartoons. And this one's nice is when I found out what it's made out of. And there's just something cool about using stuff in your, in a way in your backyard that's on the ground and sticks from a tree. And there is something fascinating how sticks and twigs can hold the soil together to bring it into a vertical form. Almost like a made up scaffold inside that mud somewhere in the soil. This is just great. It just looks like I can't do cartoons at this illustration at this level, but I can just tell the rhythm of the line is just confident and forward. And it just, I mean, I was brought up on these cartoon drawing books where they would do stages of the character, so you can see like different dimensions of them. I think it's totally professional. This is another great one where it's just it's the animation on top of a wash, so it gives it an organic feel, and then it shows an attempt at motion, and then there's great suggestive lines that suggest a shape on top of that wash. The colors are great. Everything fits. This one's great. I mean, it was long, and I'm trying to remember all these digital videos, but this one definitely has a mood, and it's consistent all the way through. I wish I watched all these before I. But yeah, this one, I mean, even that light, the digital light going on there, I know that takes like talent and stuff like that. I think it just has a great mood to it. All the colors, it's all put together. Illumination and darkness, which is nice. That stuff's hard to play with. Yeah, I like this one. It shows all the great rhythmic gestures of the body. It communicates the spontaneousness of dance. You can see each body's actually still moving into another form. Like there's nothing static about it. Like when they tell you some people's drawings are stilted, this isn't stilted. There's just rhythm all over it. This one, this is a neat thing too. Like I thought this was a painting at first, but it's always nice when a photo comes off like a painting. And so just the color and the good, there's limited forms in here, and the light just hits in all the right spots to give it a direct mood, like almost like an icon. This is just nice. I mean, just everything's put together. It's not overly crowded. All the right things are there to not confuse it too much. And there's enough for your eye to float around from the spear to the bottom left to the arrows kind of flying into the whatever the block she's standing on, which is, it seems like a future Neo-Greek revival. And then there's the wolves. Yeah, I don't know the whole mythological story, but I think that's all in there. This one was amazing. Just it's like this beautiful. It's cursive. If I think what I think about beautiful about calligraphy, I would say that the pounce with the tail and everything is just like it's a beautiful swing of a stroke, and it comes and goes. I think it's beautiful in simplicity. This one, it's just it's a great consistent sketch pencil drawing, and the background and the humorous what would you call these a chimera of different chimera of different animals all together. I just think it's interesting and somewhat humorous at the same time. Great. The medallion, it's a good symmetrical. I like how it has these hard edges, so it gives it like an antiquity even prior to probably 1600s. It just reminds me of something someone would hammer together with these nice. It's not. If I think if it was a perfect circle, it would take away from what the shapes are inside it. So I think it goes together perfect. This is putting working your way through a skull is just fascinating, especially how someone does it intuitively and just tries to find certain shapes that they kind of obsessed with. So I love these jagged teeth. So it does have it has a mood different than just trying to render a perfect skull. With those teeth are phenomenal. And then the skull plates too. Deconstructing all those plates. This one kind of kept haunting me as I was going through them. And there's a beautiful consistent brush stroke in this of almost like what do you call, like a scumbling that's consistently. I'm surprised it's acrylic, but it can almost be done in oil because of all the scumble marks. Like you're blending it with like a hog hair brush or something. It's just neat to float around it. This one, my son totally loved this one. I loved it too because all the shapes are chosen with ingenuity and positioned just right where they need to be. Especially the beard, the different cuts and how they're arranged asymmetrically but symmetrically through there to give I could see like a bunch of these being done, and they're being done for like a certain Pixar movie of some sort. The shapes are awesome. This one's great. I think there's some of the pieces I saw in there. I think they're just well done. Everything's rendered in them. This is a great still life. I like it when people still use a chunkiness of certain strokes and it still renders it in a realistic fashion, but it holds enough to show that it's done by a human being that's working through what they're looking at with a brush, rather than like a very thin sable where you're trying to hem everything in geometrically. So there's character in this one. And this one was the highest hue of the piece, and it just stuck out a lot from all the other ones. It's just the colors were hot, and the gestures interesting, and the shapes are all very unique. I mean, this one kept it dominating its expression every time I was kind of going through them. This one I liked a lot. It's just the colors everything's the right, chosen the right way. I just tend to enjoy this one in a way. The shapes are perfectly chunky in the right areas. it's flat and three-dimensional at the same time. It's just cool, and the colors totally work. That gray and that yellow. There's like the light yellow base and the neat gray tones, and there's little hints of like a little warm umber or something in there. Sienna, a little bit of that in there.
Thank you, Abe. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Congratulations, everyone. And thank you so much again for submitting your work. It's really great to see this wonderful exhibition of work produced by our students. And it just makes me very excited and thrilled. So thank you so much.